Hello everyone and welcome to SUTV Live. The next 60 minutes of build-up is free to view for all Sheffield United fans as the informed Blades travel to Coventry City for this afternoon's 3 o'clock kickoff. As always, lots on the way for you this afternoon. We'll relive Tuesday night's 4-1 demolition of Middlesbrough. We'll hear from Paul Heckingbottom and Sander Berger, and we'll have special features on both John Egan and Jack Robinson. And in an SUTV live exclusive, today's man of the moment, Morgan Gibbs-White, tells us about his outstanding recent form and, of course, that goal from 4 days ago. All of the broadcasting regulations surrounding this afternoon's game can be found by heading to sufc.co.uk. Well, hello once again and welcome to our studio here at Bramall Lane for a coverage of the latest match for Sheffield United as they hopefully press on towards promotion with the visit to Coventry City this afternoon. First of all, let me introduce my two guests alongside me as we analyse everything over the next hour or so. First of all, a warm welcome once again to a legendary Blades goal scorer, Brian Deane. Hi Brian, everything okay?
Doing good, all good.
Good. And also a man who was substituted. Well, we offer a sort of a squad rotation system here at SUTV. In the match during the week, we had Kevin Gage missing only his second match of the season, but he's been an ever-present on commentary as well. Nice to have you back in your chosen seat, Kevin.
Thank you very much, John. It was a pleasure to give it up for a legend that was Michael Brown. And
yeah, great to see him back.
Yeah, it was really good to hear his thoughts on the Blades as well.
Now, I mean, we come into this game before we even think about what's coming up this afternoon. What a performance on Tuesday. I mean, that was great, wasn't it? The whole club must have been buzzing after that.
It was really extra special, right from the first whistle. In fact, from before the whistle, to be honest. 10-15 minutes before the game started, you got a special kind of feeling it was going to be a big game. We obviously knew about the importance, and then we had the emotional of Chris Wilder coming back. Good, of course, yeah, he got an excellent ovation, but not over the top. It was just pitched right. It was just at the right level, and then of course it was game on, and we just performed. We gave a performance that matched the occasion.
Yeah, I mean, it was a result which was clearly badly needed, Brian, because Middlesbrough breathing down our necks, weren't they? If they got the win, it would have been a big one for them. But 4-1, I mean, that was a statement.
It was a statement, and the biggest thing that I took out of watching the game was the tempo. You know, the tempo of the team. You know, you got people like Morgan Gibbs-White, Sander Berger getting on the ball. You know, these are key players, in my opinion. You know, obviously we have Billy up front, but I think these are players who, in this division, are game changers. And I felt both of them were fantastic. I went to see Middlesbrough last week, and the game they played against Luton was a good game because from their point of view, they've had a lot of games and they really ground out a 2-1 win. But in terms of being able to cope with the tempo, it was in a different league altogether. What I saw the other day, and that was very important. And if they can keep that tempo going for the term we're into now, it's going to be very exciting.
I know we've said it again and again, Kevin, but it's it's almost a football cliche, isn't it? You know, you can't revel too much in what's gone. You've now got to kick on into what's coming up, and Coventry are one of those teams who proved that this championship is a very difficult place to prosper.
Yeah, they're just a good, functional mid-table team. I'll be highly surprised, very surprised if they get anywhere near the top six. I don't really think they've got that much quality. But, they'll work hard and they'll battle hard and they'll give everybody a game down at that arena. We saw when we played them earlier in the season, they didn't give much away. And it was a bit of a drab 0-0 draw, to be honest. So So a little bit of a different game this time round. I think we go into it in a lot more form. I think we go into it in a lot more confidence as well, especially after the performance on Tuesday, as we've already mentioned. So I think we're in a good place. But yeah, games are coming thick and fast, and it's just a question of just at the moment it's whoever's fit on the training pitch. Put your hand up, and
Absolutely.
Are you okay to go again? We are down to the bare bones, really.
Coventry got a good start, Brian, to the season, but they've just fallen away a wee bit. Couple of defeats, Swansea and Luton, and really they've reached the point where if they're going to kick on and get back into some sort of contention, then they're going to have to win. They've got to go for it this afternoon.
Yeah, definitely. This is a key game. I mean, there's 6 points between the two sides, so I mean, it just tells you how tight the division is. But yeah, this is a game for them. It's a must-win. It's a home game. I think that relieves a little bit of pressure on us because, we can wait for them to overexpose themselves, and then we can get some of those players that we know are good going forward into the game. So it's set up nicely for a really good game. But yeah, Coventry are, like you said, they're a mid-table team. If they've got any real ambition of making a push for the playoffs, this is a key game for them.
Yeah. Probably a good time that we show a little picture on the screen of the league table where it is right now. Now that doesn't include last night's 2-2 draw between West Brom and Huddersfield Town. The Baggies did us a bit of a favour with those 2 goals in 3 minutes to get a point out of there. So add a point onto the tally of Huddersfield Town, who go up into second place as a result of that, and 1 on as well for West Brom. But from a Sheffield United perspective, I mean, that makes decent viewing, Kevin. And OK, we don't want to get too excited. We want to just deal with each match as it comes along. But as you look at Huddersfield, OK, they've got 63 points now, we've got 57, 2 games in hand. You don't have to be a genius at mathematics to realise that an automatic promotion place is still not impossible.
It's not impossible. By the way, we are allowed to get excited. We've been getting excited for weeks now, so let's get excited, yeah. No, it's mathematically, of course it's on. I have to say that you fully expect Bournemouth to push on and maybe grab that second spot.
You'd say so, wouldn't you?
They've got the games in hand, and they're still a very, very good side. So I think it might be beyond us. It's not impossible, as you rightly say, but it might be beyond us, especially with the way we are just literally hobbling and working every single game going now. We're just patching up the side, we just keep going and going and going. Hopefully we can get through these next 2 games and have the international break to give us 2-week block and get some of our players back. So I think the top 2 might be beyond us, but certainly we can cement a place in the top 6, you would imagine. You
would hope so. You really would hope so. And United's recent form, Brian, that big win during the week, needed.
Yeah.
But 4-1, that sent kind of almost shockwaves, didn't it? I mean, people looked at that and thought, God, United are going really well. And their recent form, United, has been sound.
It's interesting because I think we've seen in patches how good this team can play. But I think it all came together really well against Middlesbrough. And you're right, it is a warning to the other teams that this is a serious contender here. Wouldn't it be great if we could look at that second position and say it's a realistic opportunity? But we also have to bear into consideration the fact that we have got these injuries, and it's a lot to ask. There's still quite a big points tally in between the two.
I'm not completely ruling it out. As you say, it's mathematically possible. We have got Bournemouth to play down here as well. But you just feel like they've probably got the squad, they've got the experience, they're still a very, very good side. They're going to have to fit lots of games in like we've had to as well. So they've got 2 or 3 games to make up on everybody. So injuries might play a part. I just think they've probably got enough in their squad to nick that second spot.
You know what it's like as well, Kevin. You get over this winter period, don't you? And the ground start firming up now. Conditions start to favour you in training, and then going into games. And as the games come, the players are on autopilot with their physical fitness, but also it seems in the mind. It seems to me less of a battle. It's more about playing football. This is when the quality really comes to the fore. You know, and it's by no accident in the end that these teams end up where they are.
One thing we've learned since Paul took over the reins is that he's a very, very level-headed sort of guy. And at this stage of the season, that I imagine, I mean, you've been there as a player and you've experienced different managers, but a level-headed fellow like that has got to be an advantage.
Yeah, I think he's not going to get carried away. He's the one person in the club who's not going to get carried away, although the results he's had for the last 3 or 4 months, he's entitled to be very, very pleased and carried away with what he's actually achieved. But he's got to keep people's feet on the ground. And footballers are pragmatic, you know, they will understand where they are in the league, they'll understand the games to come. So they won't be thinking, we've beat Middlesbrough 4-1, we've cracked it, we're just going to turn up at Coventry and we're going to get another 3 points. You know, they've been players for years, they're experienced, they know they're going to have to work hard and battle, and they're going to have to do so for the rest of the season. And as I said earlier, it's just patching people up and just going again and again and again.
Well, you talk about patching people up. High time we took a look at the Sheffield United team news this afternoon, and injuries indeed. Ben Davies out with a calf injury, John Fleck out with a groin injury, and so kids onto the bench, they've come in, and as well as that, Kieran Gordon and Conor Hourihane getting starting places. So, you know, that squad depth has been stretched once more.
Well, it's depleted, yeah. I mean, one look at the subs bench tells you everything about the squad depth, because we're now promoting under 23 players to the bench there. In Oliver A. Blaster, Femi Sakiri, who's had a couple of games, obviously. Casper Lapata been brought back off loan. He's been at Southend and playing lots of games and doing really well. So yeah, and we also know we've seen Kyle Gordon, and he's performed okay. So I haven't really got any worries with him slipping in for Ben Davies. I think that's fine. That's
another advantage, fellas, with the fact that Paul was under-23 manager. I guess he has a detailed knowledge of these fellas. And I know Jack Lester is particularly impressed with Oliver Arblaster's form and his performances, and he believes that he can slot right through.
Well, yeah, I don't know much about him. I'm not gonna sit here and know a lot about him. But like you say, bringing through another young player and having the kind of faith to put him on the bench at this time of the season tells you a lot about, you know, what kind of quality we have got coming through as a backup.
What do you'll have heard about him?
Well, I've seen him play. Yeah, I've seen him play for the under-23s, and let me tell you now, he is a really, really good player. He's only small, he's diminutive.
But he's only about 18, isn't he?
I think he's less than that. I think he's 17. I think he turns 18 very soon. I'm not sure, but very, very good technical player. Only small, as I say, but gets his foot in and works up and down the box. They've got really high hopes for him. Yeah, so this can only be good for not only him but all the young players around. To make the bench in an important game like this, just to get a feel of the first team, it'll absolutely do him the world of good. And it'll also inspire not just him, but all the others in the under-23s who've been getting a sniff of the bench and getting a run in the team, like Kyle Gordon. You know, it all helps and it all promotes what Sheffield United are trying to do with the under-23s and build for the future. It's
funny, isn't it? Because you do get that sense of when players do get pushed onto the first team bench, the ones who are the next ones are thinking, right, okay, it's my time, you know, I've got to make inroads now. It's not a case of, right, we're a bunch of guys who, yeah, we're having a good time in the 23s. You know, it starts to get quite serious when you see 2 or 3 consistently being on the bench for the first team and moving out then, because there's a new wave coming through to take their places, and all of a sudden you're in the middle of it and you're like, well, you know what, it's my turn now, I need to kick on.
Well, the team bus arrived in Coventry about half an hour ago, and after the players made their way into the stadium, I got a chance to speak to Ben Osborne. Ben, thanks for taking the time to have a word with us. Looks as though conditions are good for a game of football down there.
Yeah, it's a nice day. It's a bit cloudy above it, might rain a bit later on. It's a bit windy, but yeah, good day for it.
How are the players feeling coming to this after the match during the week? Because, I mean, I would assume that you're absolutely buzzing.
Yeah, I think we are. Obviously, in this league, we know it's quite difficult to be consistent. So that's our main challenge, and we're just on to everyone to make sure we don't drop our standards from Tuesday. And yeah, we can't wait for the game to start, and we want to produce a similar performance, everyone at it like they were midweek.
I know people are not going to be wanting to sort of look at success before it's achieved, but recent results, you've got to be looking at that table and thinking, hey, we've got a real chance here now.
Yeah, of course. I think it's only natural. We've got to, like I said, we set the standard midweek, and we've got to match that. And if we do that, we're going to come out with results more times than not. So that's all we can do, concentrate on ourselves. It's going to be a tough game today. These are a decent side. You know, they're sort of got a bit of a playoff push going on as well. So we need to make sure we're bang at it, play well, good on the ball. And if we do that, then I don't think there's many teams that can live with us in this division. As
you say, it's a big one for Coventry, though. I mean, they had that home defeat against Luton. But I know the manager was saying, in his opinion, they were so unlucky. They played a lot better than that, deserved to win. And there's a lot on the line for them this afternoon.
Yeah, of course. Obviously, they're still sort of fighting for the playoff places as well. Obviously, we've had the team behind the scenes looking at their recent fixtures and watching them, and we've heard they did play quite well against Luton and were unlucky. So we know, you know, they've been playing quite well, and it is going to be a tough game, and they're always going to be up for it. We just, we need to win the battles all over the pitch.
Good luck, Ben. Thanks a lot for taking the time, and try and bring back those points. We'd be delighted to see it happen.
Thank you. Yeah, fingers crossed.
It would be very good to see those points, wouldn't it, Kevin? But I'll tell you what's also good is to see Ben back in the team after injury worries.
Yeah, he's just come back at the right time, hasn't he? Because he can fulfil so many different positions. I mean, he's filling in at right wing back. He's a mainly left-footed player. In fact, 100% left-footed player, and he's filling in on the right-hand side, which is remarkable. And he's doing so well. I mean, he came on as sub the other week, and he was absolutely superb. For 20 minutes, he actually ran the game from right wing back, which seems strange to say, but it was true. He just kept getting on the ball and setting people up. Came off, did his job in the result the other night. Came off to a standing ovation with about 5 minutes to go. Set up the goal for Gibbs White. It's like having 3 players in the squad because he's so versatile. He can play so many different positions.
I was just thinking about when I was managing in Norway, and somebody mentioned a player, and I said, what is it? And he says, oh, he's a potato. So I was like, it's a potato? He says, yeah, it's versatile. Chips, mash, don't free no hands. So he's a bit of a potato, but a good one, you know what I mean? Very good, excellent player. I saw him, he's in an England under-20 training camp that I attended, and great technique, you know, and he's strong, you know, he's diminutive, but he's got that real low centre of balance. Technically, he's very good as well. I like him. You
talk about the standing ovation he got, and indeed the whole team got a standing ovation after that performance against Middlesbrough, and I'm sure that just about everybody watching right now will love the chance again to see the highlights of that great win.
And it's John Fleck who gets this Sky Bet Championship contest underway. Speared in by Robinson, punched away by Lumley. Got a good connection on it. Back with Robinson. Good touch by Nord, and the snapshot is over from Gibbs White. Lovely second touch from Billy Sharp. Berger's coming into the penalty area. Keeper has had a nightmare there, and Berger with an absolute gift. Sheffield United take the lead. Sander Berger in front of the Kop. The vital touch was by Joe Lumley, and it was an easy finish for the Norwegian. United one up in this crucial encounter. Gibbs White, Billy Sharp wants it. Gibbs White might go it alone. Gibbs White, Billy Sharp, 2-0 United. Brilliant play once again from Morgan Gibbs White. 2 goals for the Blades, and it's Sharp once more. Clipped down the corner by Gibbs White, gets it back from Sharp. This is wonderful play from United. Gibbs White galloped forward. Gibbs White saved by the legs of Lumley. United, they'll have this corner kick, which Ollie Nord will take. Egan again the target. Robinson! 3-0 Blades. John Egan to Jack Robinson. And United have put themselves in a fantastic position coming up to the hour mark, and the Blades lead by 3-0. Oh no, that's a mistake. Can he recover? Foderingham, Balogun's taken it wide, but he's going to score. And Middlesbrough back in the game. And you have to say it's an absolute gift. Fallen kindly for Osborne. Gibbs-White! That's just brilliant for Morgan Gibbs-White. Osborne the architect, but what about the finish? United have their 3-goal cushion once again. And Morgan Gibbs-White has played another blinder for the Blades.
Well, where do you start with that, lads? I mean, when you watch the highlights, people who were there, that's going to be one of those moments. There were, nearly 29,000 there. In a few years' time, there's going to be 49,000 who were there, because everybody's going to say, yeah, I was there on that fantastic night. It's one to live in the memory.
Definitely, it was a wonderful performance. I mean, when you see a performance like that in the Championship, you think, this team has got to be one of the top teams, and it was to a man, everybody performed really well.
It was one of those standout performances. I mean, you've been associated with the Blades for a long time, Kevin, one way or another. That's one which is up there.
Oh, definitely. I think it's in top 10, something like that. It was, as I said earlier, you got the feeling it was just a special occasion from what happened beforehand, and then right from the first whistle, you just see the highlights there. Some of our play is outstanding, our creative attacking play. But people have mentioned we were pressing and harassing and tackling and closing down and working so hard right from the first whistle. And it really paid dividends, kept winning the ball back, and just everybody in the team performed, as I say.
Well, these were the after-match words, his reaction from manager Paul Heckingbottom, who, of course, was delighted with the win, but you'll see perhaps even more than that with the manner in which it was achieved.
Yeah, we were good. I thought we were good from the first minute to the last minute. Good performance. A lot like we want to be. I know we can't. Listen, as much as we try, you can't have days like that every day. But today it was our day. But it was down to us and how we approached it and how we played and the energy we played with.
You seemed to be right in at them straight away, and allied with the fact that the possession was, if I can say, infinitely better than it was on Friday, and the two things married together well.
Yeah, we made some changes to how we wanted to play, based on Friday, based on Borough, and just for real clarity. And please, I've just saw everyone in there just praise the players, praise the staff, the analysts, praised everyone, because there were lots of things that we spoke about that we executed really well.
And I've been sat next to a centre-half during the commentary, so it was one of those for the corners, then always going back to Egan, because that yielded a goal today as well. Yeah,
delivery where we could maybe get a bit more space. It's not always about the first contact, it's a second. So yeah, listen, you can't have perfect days. There's lots of things that didn't work for us, but that was one that worked without a doubt.
And some smashing goals, not least that of Morgan Gibbs-White. Must be a contender for goal of the season.
Good goal. So you look at, I think Connor tries to play one round the corner into the front man. A quick one touch. It doesn't come off, but he wins the second. This is what we say. It's not always going to be a perfect goal, but from then it's perfect. He wins the ball, goes wide. Ozzy crossing with his right, and yeah, audacious, cheeky if you like, but you'd back him to do it. But listen, it's important that, and I've said it to Morgan straight away afterwards, because I know people speak about that finish, and he's got that, we can see. But everyone could also see how hard he works, and he worked extremely hard for the team, not only working hard but performed his role properly as well, because we can all run about, but it's about doing your job for the team, and that's why I love him, because he does that.
Manager, a happy man, and we'll be looking in more detail and of course talking more later on about Morgan Gibbs-White and that sensational goal. But after the game, these were the reactions of some more of the players. First of all, Sander Berg.
How pleased are you with not just the performance but the size of the victory tonight?
Oh yeah, we felt early. We were aggressive, came out very, very strong. We knew our game plan. You know, we wanted to show a better side in the Forest game because they were on top that game. So we need to show more Premier League, and we know our top level. And today we came out very strong. Our press was aggressive. We won the ball high. You know, ran forward, played forward, got the fans with us. You know, obviously the first goal and then the second goal coming into halftime with a lot of confidence, and then going out getting the third. Obviously they're a little bit back in it and they swapped with three strikers on top, but then all in all a very, very strong victory against a good side, so I'm very pleased.
it's part of you to a certain extent pinching yourself at the scoreline. You know, Middlesbrough are a good team, aren't they? They came into it, they're just above you in the table, or they were, but you thumped them 4-1.
Oh yeah, we created a lot of big chances today. It was not like half chances, but it was a lot. When we first were in, they were big, and we took our moments, and that was very important. And we know, you know, with all the players we play with, that when we come forward, we have quality to pick out, and it's especially important in these top games, you know, where it's fine margins. But today we were strong there and efficient.
And against two top teams in Forest and of course Middlesbrough, you've taken 4 points. I'm sure clearly you wanted 6, but I'm sure you're quite happy with that return.
Yeah, all in all, obviously, get it the other day when they equalised in the 95th. They were probably better for parts of that game and deserved not to be under 1-0. But you know, when you come up 1-0 and then you lose or draw that late, that's always the tough one. But I think we fought back well today, you know, and you know everyone will give away points. It's just about stick to your game and you know be there every game at your highest level, and then we'll take as many points as we are possible.
All good to see, isn't it? And Brian, you'll have been involved in matches where you've had great wins in the past. Yeah. When you get back in the dressing room and the manager's there with a big smile on his face, that must be one of the feel-good moments.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's what we want. We want that that's what we play football for. That's what we play at the top level for. And that would have been, like we've already discussed, one of those moments where I think the players would have reflected and just thought, how good was that? You know, you don't want the whistle to go for the end of the game when you're playing like that. And you know, you can reflect on it. I mean, obviously, anybody who scored a goal in that game will be looking back and thinking, I scored in the game. But what a game to play. Those games, you know, under the lights as well.
Yeah.
You know.
And a confidence thing as well, Kevin. You know, I mean, having gone out there with a plan, performed so wonderfully under the lights with a passionate crowd on an emotional occasion. You know, I mean, you feel 6 inches taller.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the crowd make you do that as well down here. There's always a special atmosphere under the lights, as you say. And I'm not sure there was a fantastic tactical plan. I think Hecky's given himself a little bit, not too much credit, but I don't think we did anything extra special tactically, because it was just a case of, we know how important this game is, let's all go out there and play to your absolute utmost and give absolutely everything for the team. The shape of the team was exactly the same. You know, nothing changed there, it hasn't changed for weeks. So I think it was just each individual player, you know, performing to the top of their ability.
And there are other players who are sort of meriting special mention. And you think, for instance, of Jack Robinson. Somebody he's turned his season around, hasn't he?
He's been absolutely superb. He's the most improved player by a mile. I think Bogle would have been pressing him for that award, but obviously, you know, his season's been curtailed. But Robinson's done supremely well. From where he was 3 or 4 months ago, you know, he was making the odd mistake. You could see he was a little bit shaky in his play. He's just got better and better and better. I've been talking about in commentary for ages now, because he always seems to win really important headers at key times. We see him here obviously with a goal the other night, which was just a bonus really, in the right place at the right time. But defensively, he's so solid, and he will get his head on things as crosses comes in, as I say, at crucial times, and get head balls away and clear balls and get his body in the way. And what I was thinking about this morning, he's not 6'4", 6'5". He's not a dominating centre half. He's only 6 foot, but he's a warrior and he's a battler.
It's reading it and being in the right place. Yeah. I mean, can you put your finger on what's the crucial factor in his improvement from earlier in the season, Brian?
I think perhaps just getting used to the club, just getting used to the way how we play and everything. It's you know, it's one thing, you know, we've all been in change rooms, or myself and Kevin would have been in changing rooms where you go in there and it just doesn't feel right, you know, and that affects when you're actually playing. But once you become integrated and everybody knows you as well, that helps massively, doesn't it? You know, once you feel part of the fabric, it makes a hell of a difference.
He's been on the periphery, hasn't he, for a year now, 18 months since he joined the club. He's finally getting a run in the team. And even for the first 6 or 7 games, you know, he probably was thinking, well, they brought Ben Davies in. As soon as he's fit, I'm going to be out. But to be honest, his performances have merited him staying in the team. And also, what I haven't mentioned, you know, we play with overlapping centre backs, don't we? Basham on one side, and we've been playing for Jack O'Connell or people on the other side. And Robinson has brought that into his game a bit as well. He seems far more confident on the ball, and he'll drive forward from the left centre-back position. He'll drive forward 30 yards confidently with the ball, and he seems happy to do so. His passing's crisp. Everything about his play has come on leaps and bounds.
We're, what are we now, just under half an hour away from kick-off for Coventry City against Sheffield United this afternoon. And it's time, I think, that we took a little break from analysing what's coming up and take a look into the SUTV archives and go back to the year 2016 and enjoy the Blades' 2-1 win over this afternoon's competition, Coventry City. Sit back and enjoy.
You know it's the festive season when there's a Sky Bet League One fixture on a Thursday night as the Ricoh Arena sees Coventry City face off against Sheffield United. The last month has been disappointing for the Sky Blues, who've lost their last 5 league outings. The last victory coming on the 1st of November against Chesterfield. And it'll be very difficult indeed to keep Sheffield United under wraps this evening, a side in the hunt for the playoffs in 3rd spot and perhaps automatic promotion. Slow burner this one, as brought forward by John Fleck and moved out to that far side. Full of chances, but nothing to really test either keeper as it's moved down that right sideline. Free kick is given for the coming together. Turnbull just tripping his man, and it's a good position to whip a ball in for the visitors. By Duffy in towards the back post, and there's a push and a shove there. Turnbull a little overzealous at the back stick. Protest from the away fans, not too many from the Sheffield United players as Coventry tries to lead a counter-attack, but that's a poor ball straight into the arms of Simon Moore. Just have a look here, there's plenty of pushing and shoving. So Connolly's knocked down by Turnbull. There's a lot of contact between those two. To try and just launch it forward as Moore sends everybody away.
That was then, this is now, and we've got Coventry City again this afternoon, Sheffield United away, of course, and here are the teams, and time we had a look at the Coventry City lineup. 2 changes from that defeat against Luton during the week. Callum O'Hare coming in for Martin Waghorn, who's back on the bench, and Vanketi Darbo. He replaces Todd Kane, who's also taking a place on the bench. So how do we analyse Coventry City? Who are the danger men?
Well, they're not well-known names, are they? We know a couple of them, of course. The one that stands out, Carl McFadzean, he was here as a youngster. But he's 35 years old, so that'll be an interesting battle with 36-year-old Billy Sharp. Got some experience there. The main guy who makes him tick, number 10, Callum O'Hare. He's the central midfielder, floating number 10, typical number 10 type role. So he'll be round and about. But I mean, they will be desperately disappointed to lose to Luton. You know, and they
played okay though.
Yeah, but they would probably be looking at the Luton game and this game and thinking this is our chance to really make a push for the top 6. So they will be desperately disappointed to lose that game, which will make them doubly more determined to actually get something today. So it's going to be very difficult.
Couple of experienced goal scorers, Brian. Victor Gyökeres, the Swedish guy, and Matt Godden. Gyökeres has got 13 to his name this season. Matt Godden 10, so they're people who we're going to have to keep an eye on.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's no mean feat. You know, you got 23 goals between their front two is going to tell you that we're going to have to be on alert in and around our box. But yeah, it's going to be a really good test today, I think.
Okay, well, we'll move on from there. And don't forget as well, of course, as we look at the Sheffield United lineup, that Simon Moore in goal for Coventry City, former Blade. But so far as Sheffield United's concerned, enforced changes because of injury, Kevin.
Yeah, Conor Hourihane comes back into the side, and that's a like-for-like replacement. It's a shame to lose John Fleck. Hopefully it's only for a couple of weeks, a minor injury. But no worries at all about Hourihane coming in. I mean, he partnered Norwood for a good spell, about 10-12 games earlier in the season. So no worries about that whatsoever. It doesn't affect our shape at all. And we've already spoke about Kyron Gordon, another younger player. Had a couple of games already, didn't really put a foot wrong in his previous game down at Millwall. So he'll do the job, no worries about that.
Ollie Norwood had a decent game during the week, didn't he? He's playing with confidence again.
Well, when we play well, it's usually because Oliver Norwood is instrumental in that, in making us tick and pulling the strings and feeding players in and just keeping the momentum going in that midfield. He's also brought to his game a bit of physicality as well. I was amazed how many tackles he made the other night and how he's putting himself around the pitch. We're used to him being like a quarterback role where he's just pinging the ball here, there and everywhere, but he's playing more like a traditional like box-to-box, all-action midfielder.
The way he does ping the ball around though, and his vision, I mean, it's as though, as Kevin says, so many of United's best moves seem to originate through him. He's a guy who always looks as though he's got time, Brian.
Yeah, and having that ability is key. You know, when you think about being able to play long passes in behind the opposition, or whether it's, you know, shorter passes, just controlling the tempo. You know, sometimes you have to play sideways just to slow things down, but also we've got the option of going in behind when, you know, you look at Billy's runs and he's very good at peeling off. We've seen him getting in behind the defence of the opposition on several occasions, but we've also got people like Sander Berg, you know, Morgan Gibbs-White. These are all players who can benefit from, you know, the range of passing that Oliver Norwood's got.
Talked about the scoring capabilities of Coventry City. I mean, United's defence is going to have to be strong again this afternoon. And of course, got to be talking about John Egan. He's not missed a game all season. He's just such a figure of strength and dependability.
Yeah, he's undoubtedly our leader at the back. And he's been like that for the last 3 or 4 seasons, hasn't he? Ever since he signed for the club, as you say, hardly missed a game. I mean, I've talked about Robinson and getting key headers in, but, you know, Egan is the one organising them and making sure they're doing their jobs and communicating back there. Good to see him getting forward of set pieces. It was noticeable that we were looking for Egan at virtually every set piece as well, attacking versus Middlesbrough. But just a good all-round solid defender and a leader of men at the back.
Yeah, of course, because he's captain of the club when Billy's not been around. He does have that ability to inspire those around him.
Definitely. I mean, you think about the shape now with the 3 centre-backs as well. It's great, you know, to have that kind of support next to you as well. And then the way we then look forward with the 2 wing-backs as well, it's just set up really well for us to be nice and solid, in my opinion.
And it suits Egan, doesn't it? It suits Egan sat in between the 2 centre-halves. That's his best position. Yeah, I'm sure he can play in a 2 centre-back, 4 at the back system, a traditional 4-2-4 or something. Yeah. But actually, it suits his game to just be in the middle of them, organising the 2 alongside him. What's been also noticeable in the past few weeks as well, how well he brings the ball out from defence. Because he's starting to travel with the ball now. He's happy to come into midfield with the ball and either play it a little long or give it to one of the midfield players. So he's not a traditional sweeper playing behind the centre-halves. He's happy to come forward into the midfield areas.
You've played against many, Brian. What is it which, in your opinion, actually makes a top-class central defender? What are the attributes that you would be looking as a coach to produce in your player, and as a striker, hoping it's not against you?
What I didn't like playing against, so pace, strength, height. I mean, it's a combination of those, believe it or not. But it's also that ability when you're playing against a centre back when you don't actually know where he is, because he gets his distances between you and where he needs to be tight to you and when he doesn't need to be tight to you. And that is something that intelligent players have. You know, I think, but the main thing for me is, you know, if you've got somebody who's willing to be physical with you, that makes a hell of a difference to everything that you do, because you've then got to think, well, where am I going to be comfortable getting the ball? And if they're getting you away from the opposition goal, then they've done their job.
Consistency, Kevin, as well, and an ability to stay fit. I mean, John Egan, he's been there all season and ever present. He's got to be. Yeah, I mean, it's a testimony to his physical strength and his conditioning.
Yeah, I think all players are obviously conditioned to within an inch of their lives these days, aren't they? I think he's probably been a bit lucky with injuries. He hasn't had a serious injury, so let's hope that continues.
Is that luck, or is it how you do it?
It can be luck, can't it? I mean, you can get a whack on the knee, but you can be the fittest, healthiest, most dedicated professional in the world. If somebody smashes you on the knee, it's gonna mess your knee up. So you have to have a certain amount of luck. But of course, he looks after himself. Yeah. And just going back to what Brian said, I think in our era, I think it was all about physicality, wasn't it? Centre halves, big bruiser centre halves would beat up the centre forward. I think these days, I think there's more emphasis. There is more emphasis on athletic ability and reading the game and coming out with the ball. There's a bit more football in there. Oh, nobody beat up Dino.
I was going to say, it's a big lad who beats this fella up.
He's got the goal record to prove it. He usually got on top of most centre halves. But I think that's where the game's changed a bit. Yeah. You know, it's not all about physicality. No. Although that is still a big part of at corners and getting on top of your centre half. You can't be a shrinking violet.
Yeah, I think if you're a coach, then you want centre backs who first and foremost want to have that physical contact. You know, it's not just about. For me, defending is about being a defender. You know, that's the first line. I see a lot of centre-backs now who think they're midfield players, you know what I mean, or midfield players who are playing at the back. You need to be able to send out that message to the rest of the team that I am a defender first and foremost. You know, and I think we've got that with him. The other thing I like about John Egan, he seems to me to be quite an arrogant, cocky type person, which I don't think is a bad thing. You know, you might look at it from the opposition side of you, but if you've got somebody who is very self-assured in your team, it does kind of make everybody else around him sort of like exude that same confidence as well.
Well, let's hope that they're all on form this afternoon and that John Egan continues to produce those solid performances at the back and help Sheffield United towards points against Coventry City, we hope, and some key matches coming up as well. We've got Blackpool away, that's on Wednesday, and you see that Paul Walker being joined by Rob Kozluk and of course Kevin, and then coming up next Saturday, Barnsley at home. That's an early kick-off, 12:30 kick-off, so on air from 11:30 a.m, remember, and Richard Graves will be your host then, once again with the ubiquitous Mr. Gage and Carlos Saba as well, taking his place in the studio. He's given me a raised eyebrow for saying that. Means you can turn your hand to anything, Kevin. Oh. Right, now, time for a little bit of fun from there with Morgan Gibbs-White, Illiman and Jai and Wes Fodringham, who took part in the NordVPN What's in the Box game.
What is? Yeah. If it's alive, I will bang someone. Bruh. This is so obvious. This is awful. Flip-flops. Wrong. Sandals.
But that's what I'm trying to say. Put your sleeves up.
Not put my hand in it. Not put my hand in it. It'll be a box of like jelly or something. Like, see, man. I feel all moisture in that. You lot are done with that.
Just give it a grab.
I swear to God.
Give it a little grab.
I'm not putting. like beans or something. Why are you putting my hands in beans, bro? What is wrong with you? That was I'll chance you getting this. Grab it, bud.
That's what I thought it was.
Yeah, good.
What would you have called it?
Like clay.
Oh,
Can I play that, isn't it? Play that's push, no?
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh!
Hey, you better run. You better run.
All a bit of fun, isn't it? Well, now it's the time that you've been waiting for, and I'm sure that Kevin and Brian have been waiting for, because we told them before the programme started, just hold off on Morgan Gibbs-White because we've got an interview and we'll talk about him in detail, because he has become such an important part of Sheffield United right now. Well, here is Morgan with his reaction to Tuesday night's wonderful win.
I don't think people know how big the win it was. Not just because of the position we're in the table now, just because of obviously what night it was, and obviously Chris Wilder coming back to the stadium. It was important we got the win, and obviously it takes us into 5th place, so it's a stepping stone. Obviously there's still loads more games to go, but hopefully we can keep progressing and keep moving up the table.
You scored some really good goals this season. Where does that one rank?
The top 100%. It happened so fast, I can barely remember it. But no, it was great play from Conor Hourihane and Aussie, Ben Osborne. Lovely ball put on the plate for me, and I just thought, you know what, I may as well try it, and luckily enough it came off.
You've had a really good relationship with Billy Sharp on the field, almost from the word go, but in recent weeks it seems to have really developed. So how did you see that, and how does it work out for you on the pitch?
Playing with Billy, he makes my game easy. He makes my game so easy because he's so experienced. Every time I get the ball, I know where he is. It took us a while to get to this point, but I feel like the relationship and the duo we have now is really, really strong, and we're looking forward to seeing what else we can produce.
You've got 8 goals now this season. Why do you think it's clicked for you in front of goal this campaign?
I'd just say confidence, having that confidence in front of goal, and just game time, you know, because getting 10 minutes here and there, you can't really do much. But when you play in 90 minutes twice a week, you're going to get chances and you're going to get better at being able to put them away. So yeah, I'd just say confidence in game time, but no, I'm really happy with how my game is at the minute.
Looking at the last few games at home, 7 from 9 against Blackburn, Nottingham Forest and Middlesbrough, you'd have taken that if it was offered before those games, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, definitely. If someone came to me and said, would you take 7 points in these next 3 games, I would have snatched a hand off. Yeah, but like I said, we've just got to keep getting points, keep building game by game, not focus on anyone else around us, and just focus on ourselves, and hopefully we'll stay in the top 6 and maybe even push for 2nd.
Coventry then next. They will probably see this as an opportunity to close the gap on the top 6. Another big game coming up.
Yeah, every game until the end of the season is going to be big. It's going to be key. Like you said, they're going to be wanting to. They're at home, they're going to be wanting to get the 3 points, but we're going to go there fighting, is what we've been doing these past few games, and put it right and stay in that top 6.
Morgan Gibbs-White playing so beautifully, and I'll bring you both in here, Brian and Kevin. He's become an absolute key part of the Sheffield United team.
He's crucial to the way we play. He's playing a lot more further forward at the moment because we're able to play the 3 in midfield. It's Hourihane, Norwood, Burge. He's kind of like the other striker. Billy's the main number 9, but Gibbs-White is we call him the number 10, but he's not a traditional number 10 behind the front 2 strikers. There's only 1 striker, so he's got licence to roam all over the pitch, and he's impossible to mark.
And he was talking there about the relationship that he's developed with Billy Sharp, knowing instinctively where he is.
Yeah, no, he's for me, he's a crucial player. I think his versatility means that we can go on to dominate games now, because with him playing in a role where he's a little bit withdrawn, it just means that we've got more players controlling the middle of the park. But he's so quick as well. He's so good at finding little little bits of pockets of space and being able to do teams damage, because when he gets the ball, if you look at him, he's direct. You know, he cuts across players. And he's always looking for that defining ball and that defining pass.
And how good was that goal against Middlesbrough? I mean, we remember outstanding goals. You know, you remember, I don't know, Zola's won the goal against Norwich. I remember. I'm old enough to remember Georgie Best against Sheffield United, the goal he got, which started off match of the day all those seasons. But I mean, this was terrific.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it just shows that next level of showmanship, not arrogance, but arrogance in a nice way. You know, he's the kind of person now who, when he gets on the ball, they talk about that buzz of anticipation. But he's bringing it all to the table, and you know, for me, I've seen him, and we've seen him all season. He's been a key player, and he will be a key player till the end of the season.
Quick look at the stats that he's produced, Kevin. This is what he's done exactly so far this season. Goals, yeah, but the assists as well.
Yeah, he's given the most assists of the whole championship. His assists per 90 minutes is the best in the whole division. So that tells you everything. But the goal output is really good because he was playing more of a midfielder for a lot of those games. So yeah, and he could have had a few more as well with better finishing the other night. He could have had another couple. So there's a lot more to come from him. He's playing at the top of his game, but you can just see him getting better and better. He's on loan, of course. The manager is talking about him wanting to keep him next season. But there are others who are sniffing around as well, who they see how well he's playing. There are other clubs who'd like to have him. Well, of course, yeah. I mean, you don't play that well for that long and have those kind of stats and goal record and assist records without other clubs getting interested. I mean, I'm amazed Wolves can't use him, to be honest. So let's just thank our lucky stars that he wanted to come back, because he had the option to go back to Wolves, didn't he, around Christmas? And he must have said, no, I'm enjoying it so much at Bramall Lane, I want to come back here. He's clearly loving his football here, and that counts for a lot, doesn't it? I mean, I know it's still a big if, but if we can get up, then he is somebody who I'm sure the manager would love to have in the lineup next year.
Well, why wouldn't you? I mean, he is, he's somebody who the team has really taken shape around his abilities now. So why wouldn't you want to progress and develop, in a system that is going to suit you, where you don't have to go somewhere else and prove yourself again? It's all there for him.
Kevin, I'm going to wish you goodbye. Of course, you're going to predict that Sheffield United are going to win about 7-0 this afternoon. Not to be. We'll leave you with that parting thought. But you're off now to do your commentary duties. Thank you very much for your thoughts now, and look forward to hearing you in a few minutes' time. But before then, let's hear again from Paul Heckingbottom and hear from his pre-match conference about what he was hoping for this afternoon.
Yeah, tough. I like them. I like how they play with lots of energy, try and play forward early, run forward, and regardless of the results that they've had throughout the season, there'll not be many games, or there's certainly none I've seen, where they've not caused problems for who they've played against, just because of how of that mentality, play forwards, run forwards. So we know that that's going to be the case as well on Saturday.
He's done a good job down there, Mark Robbins, hasn't he, in extreme circumstances with everything they've got to contend with.
Yeah, and bit by bit built, so steadied the ship, done a lot of good work obviously on the pitch, which we'd talk about, but probably even more so away from it, in terms of managing the club through a difficult time with all the stakeholders who've been involved over these few years, and taking the fans along with him, because they've obviously realised then what a good manager they've got, and they can see the success. And like I said, season by season they've got better and better and gone back home to the ground. So he's sort of set the wheels in motion, if you like, for this journey, and keeps taking them and improving them. So yeah, I think he'll be pleased with how it's gone so far. If not, he's wanting more without a doubt, but he'll be pleased with how it's gone.
Yeah, and they're 11th, and they still have a shot at the playoffs with another good run.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the point. You again look at the fixtures at the weekend. I think there's 3 fixtures where you'd say both teams in each of those fixtures still fancy the chances for the playoffs, and they're all playing each other, and that's the same between now and the end of the season. So yeah, it will not settle down until the last few games, just simply because of that.
Plenty of respect then for Coventry City and their manager, but also pointing to the fact that it still remains so close. I mean, it's a very, very fluid situation in the Championship, and you just need that consistency somehow from here on.
Yeah, I mean, if you look down, I think it's 11th or 12th, you know, everybody's still in it.
That's down where they are.
Yeah, exactly. So it just shows you that everybody's got something to play for, and that makes games very tight, very anxious. But we're talking about quality, and if we can get the quality right, this is the time of the season where you can really kick on and get some momentum.
Let's hope that momentum continues this afternoon. Be good to see them playing with the sort of vim, vigour and confidence that they produced during the week. Another big win at Coventry this afternoon would be really something special. I know it's a weakened team and forced changes, but nevertheless they're going to be going there, I'm sure, Brian, with belief.
Yeah, and look, I mean, I think it will be hard to match the tempo and everything else that went into the game on Tuesday. It was, like we've said before, it was a very emotional night. There would have been players there who would have wanted to show Chris how they've come on since he was there. I think today is going to be a game where, you know, if you go gung-ho, you could get hurt against a team away from home. And so I feel that we'll probably look to see how the game's going to set up. But then, you know, the quality that we've spoken about, hopefully that will come through. You know, we've got players on the pitch who can win games on their own. So I'm confident that we can get 3 points today.
Well, as you can see, the atmosphere is building. We're less than 3 minutes away from kickoff now. The players will be on the pitch very, very soon. So time for us to settle back and enjoy the action and join our big match commentators as ever this afternoon, Kevin Gage, and first of all, the voice of Matt Young.
United back in the top six following Tuesday night's success and line up against a Coventry side today. Still hopeful of catching them in this ultra-competitive division. 3 games now remain before the final international break as Paul Heckingbottom's Blades look to maintain recent progress in the wake of several injury problems. After a rousing display of support midweek, close to 4,300 United fans have travelled to the Ricoh this afternoon as the Blades once again look to fill up their top 6 berth. And Kevin Gage joins me in the Coventry booth as the two sides enter the field of play here at the Ricoh Arena. 4,300 fans, that's some number travelling to Coventry today.
Yeah, it's a good turnout, isn't it? The Blades always fantastic support, of course, away from home. And you feel like they're going to outshout the Coventry fans, and it's so important, let me tell you as an ex-player, so important to have that backing. It really does mean a lot to the players. So hopefully they can make a difference this afternoon.
Brian Deane spoke about this in the pre-match show. Coventry really need to win this, don't they, if they're going to catch the top 6. Will that play into United's hands a little bit, maybe?